Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me again tonight. It's Dr. Stephen Walker, licensed psychologist, coming at you live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Again, reminding everybody that this broadcast is for you. It's not for me. It's for you to engage with me about your mental health, your mental illness, whatever's on your mind. I start with a topic, but we can talk about that, or we can go off the board, so to speak, and talk about whatever you want. I am doing this to try to help normalize conversations about mental health and mental illness. Remember, you heard it here first. Everyone has a degree of mental illness. Everybody. Hey, Samantha, greetings from Texas. Thanks for logging on. Please share this. Remember, everyone has a degree of mental illness. Everybody. Some people are more on the extreme. Some people are less on the extreme. There are degrees of mental illness. This show, this live stream is about normalizing conversations about mental health and mental illness to the point where it would be a cooking show or a show about back pain or a show about dental pain or whatever it may be, or hair loss. Hey, no ball jokes. But anyway, hey, Aaron, how you doing? Woo, yay, Watsu, Dr. Walker. Thank you. That's someone's in a good mood. What's up? Not much. Just here to try to help people talk about their mental illness, because we all have it. Everyone you know, name one person you know that does not have a degree of mental illness, myself included, my wife, my friends, everyone in my family. Everyone has a degree of mental illness, but not enough people are talking about it. So please ask a question or make a comment. You can make a comment about what I'm talking about, or you can go off the board and talk about what's on your mind. You know, we're going into the holidays. A lot of people are COVID-19, the election, family issues, whatever it may be. If something's troubling you, if you know somebody's struggling with mental illness, please tag them. Please share this with them so that they can begin to talk about what is going on in their life. Otherwise, it's never going to heal. So tonight's topic is how to manage black or white thinking. Now, think about just that sentence alone. Black or white thinking. What do most of us normally say? Black and white thinking. But in reality, black and white thinking is healthy, because black and white thinking allows us to entertain both possibilities, entertain having both polarities, having both extremes be part of who we are, as opposed to needing black or white thinking as a way to deal with our reality. So black or white thinking is the idea in mental illness that I have to be this or that. And you guys can imagine doing this 20 years. Bipolar. What is bipolar? There are two forms of bipolars, bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. Bipolar 1 is marked by more mania. Bipolar 2 is marked by more depression, meaning that you have manic stages and then you crash down into depression, or you're basically down a lot, but then you manic rocket up. So that's black or white. That's all or nothing. So on a mental health, from a mental health perspective, we don't encourage our clients, our patients, to be black or white, to be in extremes. Because what happens when we're in extremes? We start defending and digging in and not allowing for opposite sides to exist. Look at what's happening politically in this country. Just take a look at how black or white. Hey, Janie, how are you? Thanks for joining, Janie. I know Janie's on the front lines of the coronavirus crisis. So she is. Hey, Candace, how are you? Oh, yeah. And just to remind, as a programming note, we're going to have Candace come back on Friday night and talk about her healing journey from some pretty severe sexual abuse. So if you know somebody, she was on before, it's one of the most popular videos we have going now on Facebook. So I'm sorry, on YouTube and Facebook, but Candace is going to be talking more about how she's healed a lot of that. How she has waves where some days she feels on top of it, and some days she's feeling like, I got to manage this. So if you know somebody that's been a victim of sexual abuse, if you've been a victim of sexual abuse, please tune in Friday. Engage with us. Talk about the abuse like you would talk about, your appendix operation or your root canal or your whatever medical procedure that we all wear as badges of honors. I have diabetes. I have this. Not badges of honor, but you know what I mean. We talk about our physical illnesses with much more ease than we talk about our mental illnesses. Why? Because mental illness has been stigmatized to a point in our society. There's some black or white thinking for you. People think mental illness is all or nothing. You're either you're mentally healthy, or you belong in, one flew over the cuckoo's nest, or some sort of severe mental illness that is treated by medication, or being in a mental institution. That's not what mental illness people. Most mental illness, like diagnosable organic brain anomaly mental illness, is roughly 6 to 8% of the population, and eight's pushing it a little bit. It's more in the 4 to 6% range. So what does that mean? That most people are not dealing with their mental illness because they think it's all or nothing. It's black or white. I'm either a completely crazy individual, or I have to be this living your perfect life, or being your authentic self, or all this other social media mental health nonsense and, no offense, garbage that people are ingesting from unlicensed, untrained individuals who feel that they're now in a position to tell people how to treat their mental illness, when in fact they have had no training. They've probably stolen information from psychologists or other people online, and then they're either very charismatic or they write well, and all of a sudden this is their theory, and it's just craziness. So let's get back to the and again, remember everybody, please interact with me. Okay, ask a question or make a comment. So Candace is saying black and white thinking ruled my life for a long time. It has to be managed as well for me. Absolutely. But again, Candace, remember, black or white thinking is the dangerous form of thinking. Black and white thinking allows for black and white to exist as polar opposites. Think of it in terms of, again, politically, what's happening. Imagine if, well, not even politically, let's go to another country. Let's go to Israel. Let's go where people, Jews and Arabs have been fighting and hating each other for years. Imagine if all of a sudden, miraculously, something happened and they just accepted each other's presence. They just accepted that the Jews and Palestinians or Arabs, Muslims, whatever, are going to accept each other's presence. What then has a chance of happening? But it's the idea that I have to kill the enemy. I have to destroy them. That is the problem that we're having, not only on a societal level, but we're having that on a mental health level, because people have these polarized parts of themselves and they hate them. They hate them. I have one client now working on who has come quite far, who was tortured by having bisexual thoughts. Okay. And this person would spend years trying to deny that and hate the person. I'm not going to identify whether it's a male or a female. So what we've been working on is integrating those, accepting those parts of him. And whoops, I just said him. But anyway, and it's funny when we talk about black or white thinking when it comes to sexuality. Maybe you guys have heard of conversion therapy. Okay, have you heard of conversion therapy? Conversion therapy is this individual, untrained again, who decided to put forth and work with a lot of religious groups this idea that he could convert children who were struggling with sexual identity and make them into heterosexual, God-loving, God-fearing, guess what he just came out as about a year and a half ago? Guess what he just came out as? Exactly. He came out as gay, and he built his entire career on denial of who he was. Okay? That's black or white thinking. We try to deny who we are. So let me get to a couple comments here. Samantha saying, I am more mentally healthy by being an open book. Excellent. Excellent. No reason to hide it. No reason to not talk about it. We don't necessarily want to just explode all over people, but being able to be open about your own. I've talked about some of my struggles on here, being a mixed race individual for many years. I was taught to deny my mixed ethnicity. I was told by members of my family that we didn't have any black in us. We didn't have anybody. And I'm looking at my grandfather like, here's a black man, and I'm being told, oh no, he's just tanned. You can imagine how that affected my self-identity. Thankfully, in my early 20s, mid to late 20s, I began earnestly working on that, and I've healed a lot of that. So yes, we need to be open about how we're feeling. So Angie's saying, hi, Angie. Fernando's, what's up, Fernando? Peace to you too, brother. Angie's saying, how does one begin the black or white thinking mindset? Excellent question, okay? Excellent question. Many times we are forced into being black or white by how we're brought up. So again, for example, I'll use myself as an example. So for many years, I was taught to deny my racial identity, and I was forced to believe that I was completely white, even though the feedback from in my environment was just the opposite. So then I had people coming up to me saying, well, what are you? Are you black? Are you Spanish? Or what is, and I would be like, well, what are you talking about? So I was taught early on I needed to identify as a white person, which then caused multiple issues that I had in my teens and into my 20s, where I had just miserable self-identity because nobody was talking to me. So Angie's question is a good one. How does anybody begin to be taught to be black or white? Well, it's all around us. I mean, again, look at politically. And again, guys, if you're watching this, please share this. If you're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, please share this and bring people in, because the need in our culture, especially with this pandemic, to work on our mental health and mental illness has never been more great. Never. We are heading, everyone thinks well, anyway, I'm getting off here, but we're taught to pigeonhole ourselves. So again, looking at it politically, you've either got to be a Democrat or a Republican. I know they're independents and all that, but in general, people strive to be all or nothing. And this is why I identify as what I call a Demopublican, meaning that I have beliefs on both Democrat and Republican, and I allow them to coexist. I lean more liberal, sure, because I do believe we should be helping people. I do believe this survival of the fittest nonsense culture is a recipe for disaster, where we don't care about helping people only for what's in it for us. So I encourage my clients to find balance. I was talking about the individual earlier about his sexual identity. He has learned to accept that, integrate that into him. And as that conflict began to go down, so there's a thing in psychology called ego-systonic or ego-dystonic. Ego-systonic is the idea that I have things in my mind, I'm thinking about things, and I'm in conflict with them. That's ego-dystonic. Ego-systonic is there are things in my psyche that I'm at peace with and I'm working on, I'm accepting as part of me. The more ego-systonic this individual has gotten, the less he's encumbered by these fears of, oh my God, am I gay? Am I straight? Am I bi? Oh my God. Black or white thinking is a scourge in our society. So Angie, yes, conditioning. We learn early on to develop a black or white mindset where we have to be all or nothing. Angie is either has to be the best wife, mother in the world, or she's a complete horrible person. And this dichotomy that exists is what fragments out people's minds, people. Okay. And that is why I encourage people to always, the clients and patients I work with, to begin facing what they're afraid to face. Okay. That is one of the things we as mental health people do, is we do what's called exposure therapy in a therapeutic way. We slowly help to expose people to what they're afraid of in order to be comfortable with it. And you've heard me say it here before. We try to help people feel things to heal them. The only way to heal them is to begin feeling them, but most people don't like to feel them. So let me get to a couple of comments here. Again, guys, thank you. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this, to interact with you. So Candace is saying the gray areas are so hard to accept, but that meant failure because perfection was not achieved. Exactly. That's exactly what people do. They think that imperfection is total failure. So what do? They do? They deny their imperfection. They deny their weakness. They deny things that they don't want to face. And what happens? It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. I know the Doors had a great song, Learn to Forget. Wouldn't that be nice if we could learn to forget? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. But I'm better at accepting the grays and looking at them as logical as possible. Great. And like I said, Candace will be on Friday night. So anybody knows anybody that's struggling with sexual abuse. We had somebody talking about it on our last broadcast on Monday. And Friday. And so if you're watching, please come in. Yeah. Old Blues Man is talking like Obama. Exactly. Sean King. Exactly. But these are all mixed breed individuals who, I remember when Obama first was elected, he was saying that he sees himself as a mutt, as a combination of and people don't realize what a lot of mixed breed people go through. So Old Blues Man, I haven't seen you here before, but thank you for your comments. We do help people. Samantha is saying not always easy. No, hell no. When you've been a black or white thinker most of your life, you identify with that as who you are. I mean, look at like what's happening politically, like AOC or Mitch McConnell. These are people way too polarized. So then you have this constant need to be all of this instead of looking at, well, what can I do to balance out my thought process? So please give me a third party. Absolutely. Check out demopublicans.org, Samantha. Demopublicans.org. I should put that up on one day, but it's just a pet project that I've never really worked on. So Double Dragon is saying, hey, Double Dragon, what's up, man? Thanks for coming back. My daughter identifies as a male. She is 16 and it's been tough to deal with as a father. Beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that. My daughter identifies as a male. She is 16 and it's been tough to deal with as a father. So Double Dragon, let's chat a little bit, man. What's been tough for you? Let's talk about that. What has been tough for you? Obviously, what's tough for you is, Eddie, how you doing, Eddie? Thanks. I can imagine that, and I've worked with many, many families who are going through this. I would imagine that what's difficult for you is a feeling that you've lost your daughter, and now you have to accept your daughter identifying as a male and how that's going to happen. Maybe you had plans, maybe you wanted to have grandkids and how that's going to work out. So Eddie, let me ask you this, man. What are you guys, she had to write us a letter to tell us about it. So how did I would imagine that you guys are still integrating this. Again, Eddie, you guys maybe might want to see if you can hire somebody in the mental health field to facilitate some dialogue. So what I would ask you is this, man. What are you guys doing to try to empathize with each other? And I don't mean just you guys empathizing with her. Is she trying to empathize with you? Because it's not only you guys that need to empathize with her. He needs to try to empathize what you guys are going through, because you're going to go through quite a mourning process. So Eddie's saying, I feel horrible. I haven't talked to her deeply about it. And what you have said has helped me to realize this. Beautiful, bro. See, Eddie, you just gave me my chill for the night, man. This is why I'm doing this, because Eddie, you got to realize, bro, you're not the only person going through an adjustment period in your family. Your whole family's going through it. So what I would prescribe for you, Eddie, is a pill that I don't know if you've ever seen my show before, but it's a metaphoric pill. I call it the It's Okay pill, bro. You got to start telling yourself, it's okay how I feel. It's okay that I'm bummed. It's okay that I'm angry. It's okay that I haven't talked to her. Now, when I say it's okay, I don't mean, so the It's Okay pill is a form of acceptance, okay? And there's passive and active acceptance. Passive acceptance is Eddie saying to himself, it's okay that I'm upset and I'm going to stay this way. I don't recommend passive acceptance. Active acceptance is Eddie saying to himself, look, it's okay that I've been adjusting to this. It's okay that this has hit me like a friggin' ton of bricks, but I got to do something about it, because I'm guessing you love your daughter, your son now, and that you don't want this to become an issue. So Eddie's saying she is starting to open up to me slowly. It's taken time. and I am her stepfather, but have been in her life since she was born. Beautiful, bro. So you're her father, dude. You're not her stepfather. You're her father. Because if you've been with her since she was born, he was born. You got to start using those pronouns, brother. That's the thing. You got to really be mindful about. And I had a client who just would constantly, Dr. Steve, and remind me about using the pronouns. And sadly, unfortunately, COVID got him. So that was a tough one for all of us. But you've got to ask him, what do you want me? How do you want me to refer to you? And start engaging with him at that level. I know it's going to be difficult. Her mother and I are still together and have 3 boys by me, and she is the first. Her name is Brianna, but says her name is Dakota, and that is what her teachers are calling her that. Bro, I feel for you, man. I mean, I got a 4-year-old, and my wife and I made the decision early on, gay, straight, bi, transgender, whatever he wants to be, we're going to love him. Now, I'm not saying you don't love him, but my recommendation to you, brother, is before you talk to him, yeah, I love her, but it's been rough because she was resented me, and I am, so you guys have some issues. No problem, man. You're welcome. She's resented you in the past. Well, then maybe there's some issues there that you guys need to work on. Okay. Resented me, and I am just not sure why, because we haven't talked. Well, brother, Eddie, my brother from another mother, man, I'm guessing you were raised like me, man. I mean, I'm 55 years old, and there wasn't anybody coming into my room asking me, hey, Stevie boy, how you feeling? What's going on? I certainly didn't see my parents talking shit out. Excuse my language. Sorry, talking things out. Nobody was doing that. So, Eddie, you're going to have to really start talking to Eddie, okay? You're going to have to start talking to Eddie like you're a pro athlete or an amateur athlete going into a game. You got to start talking to yourself, not necessarily out loud. I mean, you can do it out loud sometimes if you're alone, but saying to yourself, I can do this. I got to do this. I mean, the relationship is more important to me than losing him. You've got to start in your mind referring to him, to her as him. You've got to play that out in your mind. You got to start training your brain. It's called visualization. Athletes use it all the time. I've worked with many, many athletes on this. Athletes now and athletes dealing with loss of identity from not being an athlete anymore. So you've got to start talking to Eddie. I didn't know all this. It seems simple, but it's so much more. And that's why I reached out to you, because I like you and how you teach this. Great, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's why I do it. That's why I love what I do. There's so many good people like you suffering needlessly because of this conditioned crap that we learn as kids, black or white thinking. Men don't feel pain. Men don't show emotion. Men don't talk about their issues. Men just keep it inside. The biggest load of BS. This is why men in general, besides obviously testosterone and things like that, but in general, why women outlive men, and men are way more incarcerated than women. Why? Because women express their emotion. They get it out of them. They talk it out. They cry it out. What do? We hold it in. It turns into anger. That's why it's, anger is a secondary emotion, as we say, and it explodes. So Eddie, before you do anything, he's saying, I feel like the main thing is talking, and that's what you have taught me, even if it's scary. Well, good. So that's step number 1. Eddie needs to say to himself when he logs off tonight, it's okay that I'm scared. It's okay. I know that's contrary to the black or white crap we learn as boys, as men, but you got to start saying to yourself, it's okay that I'm scared. It's okay that I don't know how to do this. And I feel like I will be rejected by trying to show my feelings. By the way, I'm super empath, 37-year-old male. Nice. But bro, you may be an empath, but I don't feel a lot of empathy for Eddie. I don't know what your relationship with Eddie's like, but it sounds like you're pretty hard on yourself, man. So I think, you got a little bit of a pessimistic flair to you. And I don't know if that's because of conditioning or whatever, but you've got to, and Janie's saying, thinking of you, Eddie, hang in there, buddy. Great. But you got to start working on Eddie's relationship with Eddie. Eddie has to say to himself, look, if I get rejected the first time, I'll come back from that. I'll be that MMA fighter who gets knocked to the floor and comes back and wins the match. You've got to look at any initial rejection as Dakota saying, dude, are who's this? Are you for real? I mean, what's going on? Don't let that initial rejection stop you. I am. You've taught me that too. Great, bro. Thanks. But don't let that initial rejection. Dakota's going through, I've worked with people on various stages of gender identity disorder, sexuality confusion, transgender, people transitioning from male to female, female to male. That is a whole world of stuff going on. My childhood, but that is all so much. I just wanted to be here to support you. Thank you. And I was worried about saying anything, but now I have typed a lot of paragraphs. Great. I hope that feels better, bro, because you got to get that out. You might even want to try to find somebody, a licensed mental health person, and talk some of this stuff out first. Dakota, I don't know if he's getting any therapy, but definitely Dakota should be talking some of this stuff out. Okay. So yeah, keep me abreast of things, brother. This is my website. Anybody can always shoot me an email through the website. And, I had a gentleman who was feeling very low a couple nights ago, and we've been exchanging some emails. There's a huge time difference. So we're trying to coordinate a call, but seriously, don't hesitate to reach out. I can shoot you some emails, and we can talk about a strategy. But the main thing, Eddie, that I want you to walk away from tonight with, brother, is this. It's okay that you're scared. It's okay you don't know what to do. You got to work on saying to yourself, it's okay how I feel, working on Eddie's relationship with Eddie, and then talking to yourself into this, that I can do this. All right, man? So let us know how things go. I'll be on again Friday night. Like I said before, we're going to have Candace come back on and talk about how she's continuing her healing process through pretty severe. Again, remember, abuse is on a spectrum. She's had some pretty severe sexual abuse, and we're going to, so we hope to see you again, Eddie. Thank you. I'm good, but just really wanted to be here to support you. Thank you, man, because you really are good at what you do. Oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'll send you a check for that. No, I'm joking. But I am not all the way good, but you know what I mean. Yes, I feel you, brother. You're going through a lot, dude. I mean, you're going through a mourning process, Eddie. I mean, this is like losing a child. And it's convoluted because you're losing a child, but the child's still there, and you've got all these, I don't know, where your thoughts are on homosexuality and all that, but all that black or white thinking that I started the show on is probably affecting you. So you just got to give yourself time to get used to this, but talking to yourself in a way that you would talk to, like I'm talking to you or a buddy's talking to you. Hey, Melissa, how are you? Melissa, I think that was you from Friday night. Candace is going to be coming on, Melissa, on Friday night. So please tune in. Okay, please tune in. Candace is going to be talking about her sexual abuse and how she's healing from it. And it's a healing process and she's still working on it. So please engage with Candace Friday night. Okay, Melissa, I think that was you. I'm sorry if it wasn't, but I'm pretty sure it was you. Does the black and white thinking help with this? Absolutely. Black or white thinking is going to make you feel like, oh, no, I've got to, this gender identity and being born a male but identifying as a female or vice versa is wrong, and I'm going to be, I have to stick to that. That's black or white thinking. It has to be black or white. Black and white thinking is Eddie saying to himself, well, I've got memories of her when she was a girl. Now I'm going to have memories of her identifying as a male. Try to connect with her as a male. Ask her, hey, what can we do? Male-oriented things. Not being sexist, but not many women are into MMA and sports. I'm not saying that in general. I'm just saying find male-oriented things that you guys can do. Start talking to her. But Eddie, the main thing is, brother, she's going to be hesitant. So don't let any initial rejection make you go into black or white, like F this and I tried and screw. That's only going to cause division. Okay. The main thing, my brother, is you got to start getting Eddie mind ready for this. This is going to be a long process, but like somebody said before, go at him with love, empathize. Maybe you can get some empathy back from him by saying, You know, I've seen it happen. Empathy, you're welcome, my brother. Empathy is one of those things where you don't give it, you don't get it. So start by giving empathy. Wow, Dakota. And this is going to be hard for me to get used to, Dakota, but you must be going through, what are you going through? I mean, how is this affecting you? Empathy. Remember, empathy is not agreeing with the person. Empathy is trying to feel for the person. Amazing things happen when you feel someone trying to feel for you. Amazing things happen. Okay. So yeah, let me know. Yeah, you definitely get what you give. I understand it will take time, already has. Absolutely. You're welcome, man. So let me know, dude. Send me some messages, some private messages, and let me know what I can do to help. Okay. So seriously, Eddie, thanks for sharing, bro. Really, thanks for sharing. And I appreciate you laying it out there, because this is exactly why I'm doing this. This is a degree of mental illness, mental health, mental, whatever you want to call mental, whatever, that you're going through some mental illness. I'm not saying Dakota's mentally ill, but what she has is a disorder. And I even hate that word, but she's going through a process of healing. And that's what this is all about. So let me just get back to a couple other comments here. No problem. Thanks for your time and putting your videos on YouTube. No problem, man. No problem. Let's see here. Did I miss anybody? Yes, Samantha's saying just love them. That takes work, though, obviously. Okay, so let me get to Angie's comment here, and then I'm going to cycle back to the black or white thinking. So Angie's saying, oh, my 13-year-old was just saying how I have to hold everything in and take everything, and I have no way to get it out. Okay, there you go. Beautiful. He's talking. You have no idea how much anger is inside of me. It's been that way since I was born. We have talked often about appropriate expression and getting the mad out. Beautiful. Also started making a point to ask my kids every day, so how are you doing? Outstanding, Angie. What's going good, bad for you? The Stevie Boy thing you always say. Great. Yeah. Excellent. 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 Your 13-year-old, keep him talking. Excuse me. Keep him talking. Get him to talk about what is angering him. He's in the process now of just getting it out, feeling that it's safe, because I know he says he was born with it, but try to gently nudge him. Well, again, that's a hard one, because that's something we as mental health people do. But the reason I'm saying that is because when somebody identifies with, I was born this way. So let's take, for example, if I was a racist. So let's say Eddie and I are friends, and he's like, dude, I mean, what's up with this racism, man? I mean, you hate all black people, all white people, whatever it may be. And I'm like, well, dude, Eddie, I was born this way. I mean, imagine if I continue to reinforce that to myself, that I was born this way. I mean, that is going to be difficult for me to believe that I can change. Now, if somebody is saying to me, all right, man, well, you learn to be a racist. What do you mean I learned to be a racist? Well, think about it. There are no born racists. My 4-year-old son is not a racist. Now, if I go up to him and I'm like, dude, all purple people suck, dude. If I see you playing, or if I see him playing with a pink person or whatever, I mean, it's skin color is so arbitrary to hate somebody. But if I go in and reinforce that to him, and he's only 4, he's going to think, oh, this is when I was born. I was always like this. That is going to be difficult for him to change if he continues to reinforce that. So what I would recommend, Angie, is just try to, if you have memories of him not being angry, give him some of those. Try to get him to start thinking that he wasn't born this way. You and I have talked. Angie and I have talked a few times, and Angie's been a long time viewer of the live streams. Get him to start seeing that the anger is more nurture, excuse me, little brain fart there. Nurture rather than nature. When somebody continues to reinforce to themselves that this is my nature, this is who I am, that is exceedingly difficult to work through, because they are basically telling themselves over and over, this is who I am, it ain't going to change, and too bad. So keep getting him. I don't know if you have memories or videos or anything when he was happy or just a happy kid or whatever. Try to get him to start seeing himself differently. Try to see himself as capable of making a change. There's a thing we do, and I'm giving you some interventions that I do with clients, but there's a thing called future pacing. Okay. So future pacing is you start pacing somebody into the future about how they're going to be. Piercing, is it dangerous to have a piece of copper stuck in your hand? Don't know if you're kidding or serious. I mean, if you're just trying to see if we're live, we're live. If you want me to answer that, I don't know if you're serious. But future pacing, Angie, get him to start thinking. I'll just use my name. Let's say his name's Stevie. Stevie, how do you want to be when you get older? I mean, do you want to continue to be mad? How do you think you're going to be in your late teens? How are you going to be in your late 20s? We got to work on this. This anger that you have inside of you can heal. Give him some hope. Give him some optimism. Get him to buy into the fact that he can change. He can heal. Okay. Piercing saying, oh, restream. Yeah, we're live, Piercing. So if you want, I really am serious. Okay, then I'll get to your question in a second. Get him to start thinking about himself into the future. You know, when I'm working with a traumatized child, this isn't the first thing I do, obviously, but we start thinking about how do you want this trauma to affect you? Excuse me, when you're older. How do you want to be affected by this thing you're going through? Because, you know, Piaget was this guy who did a lot of writing about child development, and there's this thing called object permanence. And I know this is a different form of object permanence, but the idea of object permanence is that a lot of times children don't understand that when you remove an object from their sight, that it continues to exist. Okay. So what I've noticed working with kids, it's the same thing going on with trauma, is they don't understand that at some point they're going to be older and they have to make a decision about how this trauma is going to affect them. So, Angie, let me know how that goes. If you ever want to do some of our work and include him, and we can talk. I've done a lot of work with kids. So, but you're on the right road, sister. But remember, Angie, as I was talking with Eddie before, you got to keep working on Angie's relationship with Angie. Okay, you've got to keep working on Angie's relationship with Angie. How Angie is, wow, I'm really trying. I'm really trying to be a good mom. I'm trying to do things that I never got as a little girl. I'm really trying to help them heal. I'm trying to break through that conditioning that tells me I have to be all or nothing, black or white. I'm either June Cleaver, Beaver to Cleaver, Beaver to Cleaver. There's a good one. Leave it to Beaver. Just dated myself, if I remember, Leave It to Beaver. But anyway, or I have to be mommy's dearest, the worst mother on the planet. Find the middle ground, Angie. Start continuing to work on your relationship with Angie. Okay. So Eddie's saying, good luck, Angie. I hope the best for you. And we're too hard on ourselves. Absolutely. And that is a form of black or white thinking, because being hard on ourselves is the idea that we have to be all or nothing. So he had a very traumatic birth, difficult on NICU. Okay, so he was premature. Seems like he's been traumatized since birth, really. Okay, well, again, I wouldn't reinforce that to him. I wouldn't reinforce that he was traumatized since birth. I would say, look, you had moments when you were a happy kid. I would try to get him to find some balanced self-identity. Okay, the reason I'm harping on this, Angie, is because he is going to internalize his self-identity by what you're telling him. And I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying try to balance out the idea that he was a traumatized child with, you're also a happy kid. I also remember when you were 2 or 3, you would laugh or you would do something. Try to give him some hope that he's not just born to be bad, damaged at birth, never fixable, broken and never come back together. Just try to balance that out. Okay, so let me get back to piercing. I'm guessing by your let me see if you're still on. Looks like you're still on. I can't see names of who's on. I can only see who is on from different platforms. So piercing is saying, is it dangerous to have a piece of copper stuck in your hand? Again, Piercing. I don't know what's going on. You see, your handle on Twitter is piercing, so I'm guessing you're into piercings. So is it bad? Dangerous? Again, is it infected? Are you a surgeon? Or is the copper in your hand affecting your ability to do your work, to find happiness? Are you negatively impacted by the copper? These are all things. I don't know if you caught the first part of the live stream, but is the copper in your hand ego-dystonic or ego-systonic? So again, ego-dystonic is there's something about me or my body or my thoughts that I'm in conflict with. I hate that I'm bald. I hate that I'm mixed breed. And I used to, trust me, I used to go there. But that's ego-dystonic. Ego-systonic is I'm learning how to incorporate my mixed ethnicity. I'm learning how to deal with being follically challenged. That's ego-systonic. So piercing, again, you got to figure out, why is there copper stuck in my hand? Why do I have piercings? What is going on? Are the piercings a form of pain, pleasure? Do I get pain from it? Was I an abused child and that has now gotten into a form of art, which is me piercing myself? You've got to figure out for yourself whether the copper stuck in your hand is dangerous or not. So if you're still on, define what you mean by dangerous, okay? No, but it will deteriorate in my blood and poison and damage. Well, brother, or sister, sounds to me like you kind of, so let me ask you this. Oh, no, I'm not a physician. I'm a psychologist. But if you know that it could deteriorate in your blood and poison you and damage you, then why are you leaving it in your hand? Why are you leaving it in your hand? You've got to figure out what is going on with you as to why you need that in your hand. So Melissa saying, I never heard those terms before. Okay, no problem, Melissa. That's why I'm doing these, because I'm trying to expose viewers and people watching this to different forms of psychology and how it affects us. So Melissa, if I'm remembering correctly, there was you that was talking on Friday night, and you should really tune in on Friday night and listen to Candace's story of healing, okay? Because the reason she's doing this is to try to help people see that Samantha's saying, dude, take that copper out, right? But again, I don't know. Janie's saying go to emergency. Janie's, I think Janie's, Janie, you're a PA or a nurse, not a nurse, but a nurse practitioner, I think. So getting the surgery will put me out of work. Oh, okay. So the piercing sings, getting the surgery will put you out of work. Yeah, but keeping it in could put you out of life, man. And if it is copper and it's infecting your bloodstream, then you've got all kinds of bloodborne illnesses that you could be. You don't want what's it called when you get your blood is poisoned? I can't think of the medical term, but anyway, Janie, maybe you can help me out. But yeah, I would definitely recommend you taking it out. It sounds like, so piercing, since you're sharing this with us, why is it in there? Why was it in there in the first place? Okay, Janie's an MA. Why is it in there in the first place? Why was it there? I would get into some of those, but Melissa, tune in Friday night, okay? And engage with Candace and I, and you can see that the reason she's doing this is to let people know that sepsis, thank you, yes, Samantha, thank you, that you can heal from sexual abuse. It takes work, but that's why Candace is coming on. So thanks, Janie. Angie's saying makes sense. He was always very curious, daring fellow. Yeah, and so funny. Okay, yes. Talk about that with him. Talk about with your son how he was curious and how he was daring and funny, because I'm sure he doesn't have those memories. Maybe he only has the memories, there's a working theory about how memory is formed, and my working theory is that a lot of times memory is formed when we start speaking. So if you got some home videos of him being funny, give him some hope. Tell him he can work on healing this anger, but he's got to work on it. Okay, so great. I just want to make sure I got to everybody here, because I really appreciate people interacting with me. So yeah, looks like I hit everyone who's logging on. So again, let's get back to the as we're closing out here. Black or white thinking, people. You've got to identify when your thinking is too polarized. One of the interesting exercises I do, if you're really into politics, try to allow yourself to have some views that are opposite of your political orientation. If you're philosophical, try to entertain some different ideas that are separate from who you are. If there's something that's existing in your mind as an all or nothing, you've got to work on how that is affecting your self-identity. So Melissa's asking, have you asked your son how he wants to identify? Okay, that is back to, yeah, I think you're confusing a couple of different, because that was Eddie, who goes by double dragon. So yeah, that's a good question, Melissa, that you can ask Eddie. Maybe you can ask your son how. Well, obviously, I think he's already decided. Maybe you missed the beginning, Melissa, but Eddie's son, daughter is now identifying as Dakota. So that's what Eddie's going through. But yeah, but I think Melissa's is on track, Eddie, again, with just engaging with her, empathizing with her. So thank you. So the black or white thinking. Try it. Mental illness is fueled by absolute thinking. Okay, let's take black or white thinking and put it towards failure. Okay, people have very black or white ideas of what failure is, and I happen to catch, Elon Musk posted something today. I don't know if you heard, but his rocket that he was test firing blew up as it landed. So he posted something which is dead on. Failure is always an option. If you're not failing, you're not trying. And that's exactly what a healthy perspective on failure will see. But what is an unhealthy? What is a social media mental health? Oh, failure is not an option. If you think about failure, you're going to attract it to you, and all this nonsense that people are saying online. And I think it was in Star Wars, and I quoted this the other day, Yoda or whoever said, but it's matriculated, nice word, huh? Anyway, into our culture where people actually believe you either do or you don't do. There is no try. Biggest load of bipolar nonsense I have ever heard. Think of that statement. You either do or you don't do. There is no try. Let me ask you guys this. How can you do anything without trying? So you can. Trying is part of doing. Trying is part of failing. You need to learn from the failure. So if you're a black or white thinker, no, hell no. I can't allow myself to fail, because if I allow myself to fail, guess what that confirms for me? I'm a failure. That's black or white thinking. That failure confirms I'm a failure. And that is why a lot of people don't follow their dreams, achieve their potential. Not that alone, but that is one of the main things, is fear of failure. There is succeeding, trying, and failing. Absolutely, Melissa. Absolutely. That is what people like Edison taught us, right? Edison was interviewed after he finally perfected the light bulb. The interviewer asked him, I think it was a reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer or something like that, but said, well, Dr. Edison, I mean, you failed 40 times before you got it right. Didn't you want to give up? And remember, people, when Edison failed, there was no Amazon, there's no YouTube. I mean, you're right. There's no YouTube to figure out how to do it. There's no Home Depot. There's no, light kit to try again. Everything had to be made from scratch. The glass, the filament, the metal, the conductors, the fuses, everything had to be made from scratch. So failure literally meant back to square one. So the question was, didn't you want to give up? And as the story goes, Edison looked at the dude and said, failed? I learned 40 ways it didn't work. Okay. So black or white thinking is directly tied to a fear of failure. Directly tied, because people will continue to tell themselves, if I fail, that means I'm a failure. And that is a form of black or white thinking. Another form of black or white thinking, specifically to men, emotion, weakness, vulnerability. I can't show that I'm scared. I can't show that I'm weak. Oh, no, I can't do that. Because that's going to mean what? That's going to mean I'm a whatever. And that's why a lot of men don't share emotion, because they don't allow their emotions to exist on a continuum. Fernando, my brother, let me get to your comment. I see a lot of people having black or white ideas become leverage with something that is going to help them belong. Yes, like family, e.g., I hate Donald Trump, okay? So if my kids love Donald Trump, am I going to stop loving my kid? Great question. Great question. You know, Donald Trump is a very polarizing individual. I mean, you know, a lot of people who don't like Donald Trump didn't like him long before he became president. So this is, but I hear what you're saying. I used to live in New York City. There's a reason Donald Trump didn't even carry his hometown. Okay. But that's not the issue. So what Fernando is saying is, and I don't know if he's being metaphoric or whatever, but I hate Donald Trump. So if my kids love Donald Trump, am I going to stop loving my kid? That's a decision you have to make, Fernando. You know, that's a decision you have to make, because unfortunately, I'm not saying everyone who likes Donald Trump like this, but Donald Trump embodies a lot of things that a lot of people find reprehensible, detestable. I mean, so, you know, I think if you have a son that ends up liking Donald Trump or becoming a hardcore liberal or Republican, you have to try to find a middle ground where they're going to, you can meet them, or you're not going to have a relationship with them. You know, I mean, if they're a racist and you're not a racist, you know, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Melissa's saying he's atrocious, but my kids are entitled to their opinions. Yeah. You know, but you know, a lot of racists are seemingly attracted to Trump and the rhetoric. So I hear you, and we can talk about this another time. And this is not to slam Donald Trump or anything like that. Fernando brought it up, but Fernando, I would encourage you to find some gray area, man. You know, find some ways to connect with people you love, and if you can't, then you got to live with the ramifications of not having people in your life because you don't, you know, you can't find that common ground. You know, it's not easy, people. It's not easy. A lot of times family issues, black or white family issues, didn't start with Donald Trump, didn't start with you know, in their teens and 20s. A lot of it has to do. Oh, okay. Fernando's saying just made an example. It's not me. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. And Samantha, yeah, I'm not saying you're a racist. I'm not saying that at all. So that's great that Samantha is saying she's a Donald Trump supporter. I'm not saying all Donald Trump supporters are racist. Far from it. I've got Donald Trump. I got Trump supporters in my family. Okay. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying though is Trump supporters and non-Trump supporters need to start talking to each other. I don't know if you guys saw, but I did a show on how to talk to each other. I had actually a Trump supporter come on, and he was talking about some of the reasons he likes Donald Trump, and I didn't attack him. I was empathizing with him. We need to start. Yeah, and Melissa's saying I've met some lovely Trump supporters. Sure, we need to start talking to each other in this country about why people were attracted to Donald Trump. We have to start engaging with that. And Trump supporters need to understand that all liberals are not tree hugging, AOC following, defund the police, tree, whatever it may be. Yet we've got to start allowing for the possibility that there are some very good reasons why somebody likes Trump and very good reasons why people don't. And we need to find some common ground on that. We absolutely have to, or we're headed towards very dangerous territory. Things are concerning me on a level that I don't want to sound pessimistic, but we need to start talking to each other, people. Okay. So again, thank you everyone who commented, shared story. Eddie, please fill us in on how things are going with Dakota. Angie, keep working on it. Melissa, I hope you're going to join us Friday night. Again, remember, we are going to have Candace back on talking about her sexual abuse and how she's healed from it and how she continues to heal from it. But it isn't about just Candace and I talking. You're welcome, Eddie. It isn't about us talking. It's about you guys engaging. So if you know somebody that was sexually abused, please send them a link to the previous show with Candace and let them know that it's time for them to start working on this. Melissa's saying, I think it goes back to ingrained stereotypes and back to black and white thinking. Remember, Melissa, black or white thinking is the destructive form. Black and white thinking is me saying, oh, okay, I don't support Donald Trump, but I want to hear why you do. I want to find a way that we can both find some common ground. I'm going to allow black and white to exist. If you think about it, of race relations in our country back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and a lot of my black friends are like, dude, things haven't changed much at all. But anyway, black and white is black people and white people learning to live together. Black or white thinking is, I'm gonna kill them black people, I'm gonna kill whitey. That is a recipe for disaster. So if you think about it in terms of just like that, then you'll be able to see that black or white thinking is the destructive form of thinking. And we could talk on and on about this, but I'm going to break off here. Thanks. Sane, reasonable talking helps so much. Exactly. We need to figure out how to communicate with each other, or things are going to get worse and worse and worse. And I am worried about that from a mental health perspective. So Fernando is asking me a question. Do you think setting boundaries is a way for people on the receiving end to comfort their black or white thinking and start working together? Yes and no. Sometimes the boundary can be, set too stringent and then people don't start working together. But yeah, boundaries are always a good step about learning how to work with people who you don't agree with, because you could say, again, using the racism example. So, racism is obviously a very polarizing subject, but, if there's somebody in your life that's a racist, and you want to have a relationship with them, you could set a boundary saying, look, I'll have a relationship with you, but no black jokes, no white jokes, no putting down other races around me. That's cool if you believe that. Well, not cool, but you know what I mean? That's who you are. But when we're together, I don't want any of that. And if you're not going to respect that, then I don't know where our friendship's going. And if the person's like, well, you got to accept me for who I am, and that's who I am, that's very black or white on their end. They're saying, nope, you got to take all of me or you're not going to take any of me. And that's a problem. And I could talk about black or white thinking when it comes to relationships, because I've seen it. After 20 years of doing this work with people, you would be amazed at how black or white thinking affects so many different relationships. So Inger is saying, I'm so confused. So Inger, before I log off, what are you confused about? Talk about that. What's confusing you? But yeah, Fernando, what I would say to you, my brother, is that, setting boundaries and letting people know that you have, kind of a polarized relationship with where your boundary is. And if they can't respect that, you got to make a decision. Then you got to maybe move your boundary out or stick to your boundaries. So Inger, I'm still waiting for you to tell me what I'm so confused means before I log off, because I don't want to leave that hanging out there. So I would just recommend that if there are, Fernando, if there are people who you need to get along with, meaning we've talked about some of the family stuff in a few shows in the past. If there's this idea that, family first and not breaking apart the family is the main goal, and you are the enlightened one who has to, channel Epictetus. Epictetus was a Greek philosopher back in the Roman Empire. But anyway, he was the one who was the first one to start talking about It's up to us how we react to things. Okay. I know a lot of self-helpers and YouTubes like to commandeer these philosophies as their own. But no, Epictetus, if you ever want to read really interesting writing, just type in Epictetus, Epictus. And but Epictetus talked about how we need to work on how we react to things. So Fernando, if you're the enlightened one, my brother, you got to work on how you're reacting. I'm not saying this is you, but the person who is the one doing the work needs to say, I have to work on how I'm reacting. So Inger, I'm not getting a response to your, I'm so confused. I got a jet. So I'm going to give you a few more seconds. If you want to tell me what, okay, here it comes. Maybe it's because I came in late. When you're in the marginalized community, yes. Why do we have to manage others' emotions? Great question. And Inger, I don't know, how much you caught. Good night, Eddie. Take care, bro. Let me know how it goes with Dakota, okay? And again, shoot me an email, or we can chat or whatever. Great question. So Inger is in a marginalized community. I can't tell from your picture, but you look like you're African American. I'm a mixed race individual, so that's a whole nother issue there. But I'm not saying that you marginalized people have to manage others' emotions. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is marginalized people have to understand. Take care, Candace. I'll see you Friday night. Marginalized people, and by the way, again, just a quick programming note, Candace is going to be on again talking about her healing work from pretty significant sexual abuse. I'm not saying marginalized people have to manage anybody's emotions. Everyone has to manage their own emotions, first off. But what I am saying is this. People need to, and I have Black friends, I have white friends, I have Spanish friends, I have mixed friends, I have Muslim friends, I have Jewish friends, I have all kinds of friends, okay? What I am saying, though, is racism has to be spoken about, okay? Racism has to be talked about openly. And so, I have a Black friend of mine and a white friend of mine that long story short, but the basic idea is I encourage him, my Black friend, to talk to this white friend about some of the racist stuff that we've all seen and heard him say, if they want to be friends. So all I'm saying is that we need to talk specifically about these Black or white topics. So as a African, if I'm assuming again, Inger, that you're African American, so what I would recommend is not that you have to manage a racist's emotions. That's not at all what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, if you want to have a relationship with somebody who may have some, prejudice or racist beliefs or whatever it may be, you got to talk about it. You got to talk about why they're like this. You have to talk about how it affects you. You have to talk to white people about what it is like to be a marginalized person. A lot of white people don't even have Black friends. They never even talk to someone about what's it like to be marginalized. What's it like to have the trauma of slavery still affecting you? What's it like when someone tells you to get over it? It was 200 years ago. What's it like to think your ancestors were brutalized like that? And my great-great-grandfather was a 4-year-old slave boy named Micajah who came to Virginia. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So we need to talk about what it's like to be a marginalized person. So what I would encourage you to do, Inger, is, again, I am not saying that you have to manage other people's emotions, but what I would encourage you to do is you have to manage how their prejudice or emotions are affecting you. Okay. And if you're talking to somebody that's just hardcore white militant, and then you got to be like, check, please. But if you have somebody that's struggling with not even realizing, like a lot of white people don't understand that when white people tell Black people, I don't see color, and they think that means that they're like enlightened, that's the worst thing you can tell a Black person. Okay, people, telling a Black person, I don't see your color, I know you mean well, meaning I don't see color in the sense that I don't judge people by their color. I get that, but that's not what Black people want to hear. They don't want to hear that you're not seeing their color. That depersonalizes them. That takes their whole racial identity out of the equation. They want you to see their color. They want you to see their suffering. They want you to know what it's like to think your great-great-grandfather was friggin' his teeth were filed down, or he was whipped, or whatever, or females were sexually abused or mutilated or whatever. This is trauma, people, that ain't going away anytime soon. So, Inger, thanks for your comment. Again, by the way, if anybody ever wants to come on the show and talk about what they're going through, shoot me a text. You can communicate with me and we can talk more openly. We can have you just talk about what you're going on. So Inger, if you're like to come on and talk about what it's like to be a marginalized person and how that affects your mental health and all those things, hit me up, okay? All right, people. So again, if you're catching this after we post it on Facebook or Twitter, please like our page. Please subscribe on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe and set your notifications for when we go live. We're going to have a lot more guests coming on. It's going to be a little dicey if I can be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as the holiday comes up. I may jump on during the day because I've got some parenting duties. I've got some family obligations. But thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you for all your engagement. I really appreciate all the embrace the human. Absolutely, Samantha. Absolutely. And Samantha, what I would offer to you, if you are a Trump supporter, and that's fine, find out, get a Trump non-Trump supporter friend, and I'm sure you have them. And talk. The whole, you're welcome, Fernando. The whole defund the police is ridiculous. I'm lean more liberal, but I don't want to defund the police, but that's not what that means. Defund the police doesn't mean get rid of the police. Defund the police means take those resources and put them into community policing. Anyway, thanks for joining me tonight. Good. I do. They're in my family. Beautiful. So again, Friday night, don't forget to log on. We're going to have a follow-up with Candace on her healing journey from sexual abuse. So thank you again for joining me. I'll see you Friday night. Please share this. Please tell people about it. And we'll catch you then. All right, guys. Have a good night. See you Friday night. Take it easy.